Hi, good morning, friends. Welcome or good afternoon. This practice is welcome to do at whatever time. Today, we're going to do a practice to cultivate self-love. I know many of us have heard of the great powers of self-love, and each time it's being talked about more. Yet, Lord knows it's not easy. Sometimes it can really be hard and challenging to create that practice and to give ourselves self-love. So today, that is why throughout this class, I want us to truly honor wherever we are today. Wherever that is, I want you guys to meet yourself there and cultivate a practice that is unique to you. That might be focusing on your breath, being grateful for your breath, or moving in a certain way that you know that feels right for you. Or I will leave you with a little mantra for you to feel free to pick up or not, set aside and do your own thing. But if you want, you have this mantra to stay present with throughout the class. I love myself fully and completely. I love myself fully and completely. With that, we're going to move in sort of a fun, dynamic way. Lots of heart openers, soothing movements that will open our body and hopefully will make it a little easier to find and meet us where we are today and move in that way. So whenever you're ready, feel free. We're gonna start laying down bound angle pose. So Baddha Konasana on our backs. Feet together, knees wide apart. Maybe feeling comforted by using lots of props and propping up our knees or lots of pillows, whatever we have in handy. And we're going to place one hand in our heart, one on our belly, gently closing our eyes. Beginning to take deep breaths, feeling our belly, our chest rise and lower. Honoring ourselves where we are today. Offering ourselves self-love by just respecting where we are, meeting ourselves there. And moving accordingly. Gently taking both knees into our chest, giving ourselves a big, big hug. Maybe doing circles with our knees, massaging our low back. So circles with our hips and other side. And even if you won't be using the mantra today, keeping it present as we honor ourselves throughout the class, just by respecting all parts, the good and bad, and bringing back knees through center, respecting and honoring whatever comes up, and knowing that nothing is right or wrong. And from here, we're gonna come all the way up, meeting in all fours, tabletop position. Hands shoulder width apart, knees hip width apart, and moving through a couple cat-cow, opening the chest, beginning to warm up the spine. And again, getting curious, maybe moving the hips from side to side, making this your own movement. And coming back through center, shifting our hips forward, we might want to adjust our hands. We're going to come into super cobra. So lowering our hips down to the ground, opening our arms towards the corners of the mat, adjusting them as necessary, maybe coming in a little closer or maybe a little farther apart, whatever feels best for us. I'm going to hold here for a couple breaths. Now gently, we're going to bend one elbow, looking over the opposite. Coming back through center, other side. Back through center, over towards the right. And last one, bending the right elbow, looking over the left shoulder. And coming back through center. Walking your hands in slightly just to push yourself back, child's pose. Feel free to make this your child's pose if it's tough on your knees, maybe lifting a little the hips up, taking away the pressure from the knees or knees together or apart. Returning to your breath as you press your sits bones towards your heels, hands against the mat. And placing all toes onto the mat, meeting in downward facing dog. Taking a couple breaths in down dog, adjusting and fidgeting as feels right for a couple breaths. We'll meet in a steady down dog, separating our feet a little wider than hip width, walking our hands back towards our feet. Bringing all the weight towards our feet, making sure the weight is evenly distributed through the ball and heel of the foot. Grabbing opposite elbows, making sure we're bending the knees, maybe even pressing the whole torso against the thighs. Grabbing opposite elbows and maybe staying still or finding a little sway from side to side. And coming back through center, releasing the elbows. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, strong long back all the way up to standing. Hands in front of the heart. Inhale, arms up. And grabbing the left wrist, reaching the right hand towards the right. Opening the left side of the torso, side bend. Keeping the knees soft. Feeling the opening through the left side of the body. And other side, taking hold of the right wrist as you pull towards the left. Making sure you're opening the shoulders, not closing in. And back through center, releasing the arms next to the side. We're going to do a spinal roll down. So tucking the chin in towards the chest, one vertebrae at a time. Lowering all the way down back to ragdoll. Making sure our knees are bent. Feeling each vertebrae open and lengthen as it lowers. And now I'm going to give you the option to either roll up one vertebrae at a time if you have lower back issues or you feel like you can't engage your belly, low belly in here to protect the low back. Come up with a flat spine. If you're coming up with the belly button lifting, engaged, protecting the low back, feel free to roll up, feeling the engagement in the low belly as you lift one vertebrae at a time. And shoulders roll back. Crown of the head lengthens. And we'll walk towards the front of the mat. Tadasana. Separating our feet a little wider than hip width. Lowering into Malasana, yogi squat. Lowering slowly, arms next to our ears. Almost trying to just lower 1 inch at a time. Knees remain in the same direction as the toes. And once we lower, we might feel it a little tight and we might want to pop onto our toes. That's fine. It's better if you have a blanket to support the heels. If not, no worries, just coming onto your toes. Bringing your hands in front of your heart as you push your knees out to open, lengthening through the crown of the head. Taking deep breaths, returning to that intention that we set at the beginning of the class. Honor yourself wherever you are today. And gently coming onto your sits bones, finding our way into an easy seated position, Sukhasana. This might not be very easy for some of us. That's okay. You can always prop yourself up, support your knees, whatever feels best. From here, we're going to open our arms out to the sides in a big T, lifting the heart, looking up, opening the torso towards the front of the mat. Inhale. And with the exhale, giving yourself a big hug, right elbow over, right arm over, left arm under. Tucking the chin in, rounding the back. And gently release. Placing both hands in front of you, forward fold, walking your hands towards the front. This might not be accessible, and that's fine. You'll just stay seated. If you can, reach forward. Forward fold. And walking your hands back in. Switching sides. The one that's in front goes to the back. The one that's in the back goes to the front. Once again, opening your arms, lifting the heart, opening the chest. And this time, left arm over, right arm under, giving yourself a big hug, tucking the chin in. Elbows stacked if they can be. And gently release, walking your hands forward, forward fold. And walking your hands gently back. Finding our way back into down dog, either stepping back or hopping back, whatever you want to try today. From downward facing dog, step the right foot between both hands as smoothly as possible. If it doesn't reach, it's okay. Help it with your hand. Placing the back knee down, the back of the foot, low lunge. Inhale. Placing the back toes onto the mat, lift the back knee for crescent lunge. We're going to bring the palms of our hands together, reversing the prayer. Elbows stay up. Hands reach along our spine. Staying here. And gently lengthening our arms, placing the right hand on our right hip, lengthening towards the right side, opening the left side of the torso. And coming back through center, rolling the back heel down, opening up, warrior two. So we're going to move through a couple of fun transitions. Feel free to pause, watch, then do it, or try to do it and listen carefully. Arms along the legs, warrior two, shifting into half moon. Lifting the back leg, reaching the right hand down, opening the chest. Pushing through the back heel. Now, you're going to come into a seated twist from here, lowering the back leg onto the mat and keeping the right foot planted. So I'm going to repeat that just one more time. You can always rewatch it. From half moon, we're going to lower the flying leg, placing the leg onto the mat, keeping the right foot planted, coming into a seated twist. Inhale, arms up, twisting over towards the right, placing the elbow outside of the right thigh, lengthen through the crown of the head, reaching back. Looking back. And coming back through center, keeping the legs as they are, placing both hands out to the left side, bowing down just for a moment, reaching the forehead down towards the left side, and back through center. We're going to find our way into Gomukhasana, stacking our knees, placing the edge of the right foot this time, bringing both heels close in towards our outer hips. If this is too much, you can lengthen the lower leg or find a way to prop your sits bones up a little, giving you a bit more room. You're going to reach the left arm over as you bend the elbow. And maybe you'll just stay here, creating a little pressure with the right hand opening the upper arm. If not, you're going to reach with the right arm behind you, full Gomukhasana, reaching for the hands behind your back. Inhale and release, finding your way back into downward facing dog. Other side, step the left foot between your hands, this time lowering the back knee, the back of the foot, reaching both arms up, low lunge. Very carefully, if this is too much for balance, you can always place your hands down. We're going to find our way into crescent, placing the back toes onto the mat, lifting the back knee, making sure our hips are squared, pressing the palms of our hands together, upside down prayer as we bend the elbows, hands along the spine, holding here. And lengthen the arms up, reaching the left hand onto the hip, reaching the right arm towards the left, opening the right side of the body. And back through center. Placing the back heel down for warrior two, opening the arms along the legs. Just a brief warrior two to transition into half moon, shifting the weight onto the left leg as we reach the right leg up, lowering the left hand onto the mat, opening the torso towards the right side, pushing through the flying leg. And now, very slowly, you're going to bend the standing leg as you place the right leg down outside of the left foot for seated twist. Inhale, arms up, twisting over towards the left, Placing the right elbow outside of the left thigh, looking over the left shoulder. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, maybe twist a little deeper. And if this is too much, you can always modify in different ways. Just taking hold of your leg, giving yourself a big hug. Feel free to modify however to make this practice your own and for it to feel right for you. And back through center, taking both hands over towards the right, bowing down towards the right side of the mat, just briefly. And coming back through center. Stacking our knees for Gomukhasana. Bringing the heels in close towards the sides of the hips, trying for our knees to not be way too up here and we feel really tight. Instead, we're feeling a little supported, light. And we're going to take the right elbow overhead, pulsing with the right hand. Maybe we'll stay here, or maybe we'll reach for the right hand behind us, binding our Gomukhasana. And gently release the hands, finding our way back into downward facing dog. From down dog, place both knees down onto the mat, coming into a kneeling position for camel pose. We're going to start placing all toes onto the mat. If you have blocks, that can also be nice. If not, no worries. We'll modify without it. What's important is to stay wherever feels right for you. So you don't have to lower all the way. You can stay at any of the steps that I'll begin to indicate in just a moment. So we're going to start by placing our hands on our low back. The palms of the hands pressing against the low back to really lengthen the lumbar spine. Reaching the heart up. Elbows as if they wanted to touch behind us. Lifting the heart, looking up. Feel free to stay here. Or maybe begin to walk your hands along your legs. Looking, reaching for the heels. Heart reaches up as the hips remain over the knees. Breathe. And gently walking your hands back up. We're going to lower one more time. Feel free to do it the same way, or if you feel like you can go a little deeper, maybe you want to place the backs of the feet on the mat. And once again, hands on the low back. Opening the heart, looking up. Elbows as if they wanted to touch, and begin to walk your hands along your thighs, reaching for the heels as the heart lifts. Breathe. Neck is long. And gently walking your hands back up. This reaching your sits bones towards your heels for child's pose. And gently lifting the torso up. We're going to swing our legs forward. Lengthening the legs out towards the front of the mat. Bending the knees as much as we need. We're going to drape over our torso over our legs, keeping your knees soft. Hello, Ramona. Keeping the torso heavy, bending the knees as much as you need, placing the heels on the mat, flexing the feet, letting the torso remain heavy. And maybe begin to push through the heels as you lengthen the legs forward. done Paschimottanasana. As you reach the heart forward, maybe you'll walk your hands in a little more to keep a long spine. And coming up all the way, Dandasana. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, keeping the legs straight, just twist, soft twist over towards the right. Reaching the right arm back, looking behind you. Inhale. And back through center, other side. Inhale, arms up. Twisting over towards the left, reaching the left hand back, right arm outside of the left thigh. And back through center. Now, take a second to find a wall close by to you. If you don't have a wall, that's okay. It's going to feel best if you do have a wall. And if you have some pillows. And you're going to lengthen your legs up the wall, placing your butt onto blocks or pillows, or sturdy pillows. I don't have a wall now, so I'm going to place a blanket under my hips and lengthen the legs up, making sure my knees remain bent, not strained, and just feeling the blood reverse along our legs, feeling that softness, easiness throughout our legs. Taking deep breaths. Feel free to keep this for as long as you want. And whenever you're ready, whenever you're done, coming into a soft Shavasana. Again, if you kept the mantra throughout the class, repeating the mantra to yourself before you let go completely, letting yourself just be in Shavasana. Thank you for joining me in this practice I love so much. I hope to see you next time.